Happy Sunday Iconic Glamers. My name is Stacey Ann. I love makeup and I'm a huge horror fan. This week we will be talking about It, the novel. Now this is such a huge story. I'm going to do this in 3 parts. So part 1 we will just focus on the novel, part 2 will be the TV series and the movies, and then the 3rd part will be Welcome to Derry, which I am so excited for. This week I went in with Jolie Beauty's newest palette. This is Cryptic and she is gorgeous. Just look at those shades. She absolutely kills every single collection. I'm obsessed. She also brought out new lip tints and cream contour, which is amazing. Everything I used will be linked in the description down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, maybe a share, help a girl out, and grab your imagination, and let's get into it. It is the 22nd book published by Stephen King. It was his 18th novel and the 13th novel written under his own name. The book was released by Viking on September 15th, 1986. It was one of the best-selling novels in the United States and of that year. It is now considered a modern masterpiece of the horror genre in literature. King did begin writing the novel in 1981, having first conceived of the tale in 1978. Stephen King envisioned the It character as a troll living in the sewer system, drawing on the idea of the troll under the bridge from the children's story Three Billy Goats Gruff. In the novel, it is an ancient alien extra-dimensional entity that originates in the macroverse, which is later called Tadosh, darkness in King's larger universe. It is older than the universe as humans understand it and exists alongside a cosmic turtle named Manchurim, representing the opposing force of creation and balance. It is a being of destructive chaos whose natural impulses is to consume and to cause fear, which seasons its prey. It came to Earth millions of years before humans existed, falling in a cataclysmic meteor-like event and landing where Derry, Maine would later be built. It hibernated underground until humans provided prey worth awakening for. Now it does awaken roughly every 27 years, though sometimes it could be slightly less, sometimes more, to feed and then return to hibernation. It senses a shift in the town's emotional energy, which awakens it and begins feeding almost always, starting with children because their fear is purer. Many horrific events in Derry's history are tied to its awakening: the Black Spot fire, the Easter egg hunt explosion, Kitcher Ironworks collapse, and the Bradley gang shooting. While Derry's adults often look away from the violence and crime and cruelty spike during its cycles, the town becomes sort of a psychic nest, amplifying and protecting it. After cessation, it returns to a long slumber. In the book, Pennywise is not its true form, but the most common mask it uses. Children are its preferred prey. A clown is both attractive and terrifying. I have a story, right? I can't remember how old I was, but I do remember I went to one of my cousin I'm sure it was Jenna's birthday party, and that's on my dad's side of the family. I don't think my dad stayed. And we were sat in a circle and she had this bloody clown, and I was absolutely terrified because I'd watched it and It was horrific. And I just remember like running into all the adults were in the kitchen. And I just remember running in there and bursting into tears. Like, it scarred me for life. Pennywise appears as a cross between a circus clown, otherwise known as Bob Gray, often with silver eyes, frequently emitting a smell of rot or carnival odours. It does appear as other forms like a werewolf, a leper, a giant bird, Dracula, dead loved ones, and voices from the drain. It always selects its forms that will generate fear based on the child's psychology. Its real form is not perceivable by humans. The deadlights are a swirling, destructive essence of pure malice. Looking directly into them can cause madness or catatonia. Beverly nearly dies and Audra falls into a coma. Pennywise is merely a projection used to interface with the human world. The novel starts off in October 1957 after a heavy rainstorm in Derry, Maine. Hang on, I'll be back. FYI, if you're looking for a really good mascara, this one is the new one from Rimmel and it's their Mega Lift, and I've been absolutely loving this. Look at that brush. And I have terrible lashes as well. I just really like this one. You start at the root and just wiggle up your lash. Just love it. Anyway. 6-year-old Georgie Denborough is chasing a paper boat his brother Bill helped him make down a street gutter. The boat is washed down a storm drain, and peering into the drain, Georgie sees a clown in a silver suit who introduces himself as Mr. Bob Gray, aka Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Pennywise offers Georgie a balloon, which he refuses. However, the clown clearly entices Georgie to reach into the drain to retrieve his boat, then tears off his arm, leaving him to bleed to death in the gutter. The following June, on the last day of school, Ben Hascom, an overweight 11-year-old, is harassed by a group of bullies led by Henry Bowers, who tries to carve his name into Ben's stomach with a buck knife. Ben escapes and hides in the Barrens, a large wooded area. There he meets Eddie Casbrook, a hypochondriac boy who believes he has asthma, and Bill Denborough, Georgie's older brother, who has a stutter and rides a rusty old bike called Silver. The three boys later befriend Richie Tozer, a joker, Stan Uris, a Jewish boy, and Beverly Marsh, a lower middle class girl. They eventually refer to themselves as the Losers Club. As the summer draws on, they realise they have each had an encounter with a shape-shifting entity that takes the form of whatever they fear the most. Ben sees a mummy holding a balloon. Eddie sees a leper offering him oral. Bill sees Georgie's ghost, and Richie sees a werewolf. Stan sees two drowned boys in the local standpipe, and Beverly sees blood spurting from her bathroom sink. The Losers Club refer to the creature as it and link it with the recent child murders, including that of Eddie Cochran, who is killed by the monster in the form of the creature from the Black Lagoon. Meanwhile, Henry Bowers, who has been terrorising the Losers Club for months, admits to poisoning Mike Hanlon's dog and chasing him into the Barrens. Before I use this, I do just have to talk about Jolie Beauty's new contour. These are their sculpted cream contours. I got the shade skull. And these are the most perfect contour colours. Look at that. And I've been using this. That is what contour is, not bronzer. This. Perfect. So Mike tells the club that he was attacked by a large prehistoric sized bird, and they realise through Mike's picture books that it has been around for centuries. The Losers Club suspects that it has control over Derry due to the number of unsolved disappearances and violent tragedies. They go unnoticed or seem to be forgotten by all the adults in Derry. During the incident where Henry and his gang chase Mike into the Barrens, a rock fight is initiated with the Losers Club. The bullies are defeated and an injured Henry swears revenge on the Losers Club before departing. After further encounters with it, the losers construct a makeshift narrative, American Smoke Hole, which Richie and Mike use to hallucinate its origins, and in doing so they discover that it came to Derry millions of years before in an asteroid-like impact, and that around every 27 years it awakens from its hibernation state. Underneath the town, usually after some kind of terrible event or tragedy, it feeds and devours children for a period of 12 to 16 months. In late July, Eddie ends up in the hospital after Henry breaks his arm. Spying on them, Beverly witnesses one of the bullies, Patrick Hockstetter, trying to empty a refrigerator which he has been using to trap and kill small animals, only to be killed by flying leeches later. The Losers Club discover the message written in Patrick's blood, warning them that it will kill them all if they continue to fight it. After Eddie is released from the hospital, Ben makes 2 silver slugs out of a silver dollar, believing that the silver will kill the monster, with Beverly found to be the best shot of the group. The responsibility of shooting the creature with Bill's slingshot falls to her. The kids return to the house on Newbolt Street and are attacked by a werewolf. Beverly shoots a slug from Bill's slingshot at the werewolf, injuring it and causing it to flee back to the sewers. It, now seeing losers as a serious threat, manipulates Henry by sending him a package in the mail containing a switchblade. He then uses to murder his own alcoholic and abusive father, who suffers from severe post-traumatic stress following his service in World War II. Soon after, Henry and his friends Victor and Belch follow the Losers Club into the sewers with the intention of killing them. The 3 boys are attacked by Frankenstein's monster, decapitating Victor and mutilating Belch's face. Henry runs away and gets lost in the sewers. He eventually washes out into a nearby river, is caught by police, and blamed for all of the children's murders. The children track it into the sewers to perform a primitive form of the ritual of Chud to injure it severely through belief and unity. Bill Denborough first found the information about the ritual when he found the Night's Truth in Derry's public library, where he also found it was a glamour known to many cultures under many different names. The ritual itself is from Himalayan belief, who recognized it as a sort of talus. In Himalayan traditions, a holy man, the talus, overlapped tongues, bit into each other and told riddles until one laughed, despite the pain. If the talus laughs first, it gets sent away for 100 years. while if the man laughs first, the talus gets to eat the man's soul. Bill enters the monster's mind through the ritual of Chud and discovers its true form is a mass of destructive orange beams, which it refers to as the Deadlights. With the help of Manchurian, Bill is able to defeat it and send it back to sleep. After the battle, the Losers Club get lost in the sewers until Beverly makes love to all the boys to bring unity back to the group. Really taking one for the team. The Losers Club then swear a blood oath to return to Derry should it ever return. The losers eventually all drift apart and go their separate ways in life, and their memories of that summer fade away. Moving on to July 1984 at the annual Canal Days Festival, 3 teenagers attack a gay man named Adrian Mellon and throw him off a bridge. They are questioned by police when the victim's mutilated corpse is found. One of the teens claimed that he saw a clown in a silver suit drag Adrian Mellon under the bridge. Adrian's partner, Don Haggerty, says he saw a clown bite Mellon under the arm, but the prosecutors convince him not to mention it during the trial. When a string of child murders occur in Derry once again, an adult Mike Handed, now the town's librarian and the only one of the losers to remain in Derry, calls up the 6 former members of the Losers Club and reminds them of their childhood promise to return should the killings ever start again. Bill Denborough is now a successful horror novelist living in England with his actress wife Audra. Beverly Marsh is a fashion designer in Chicago and is married to an abusive man named Tom Rogan. Eddie Casbrook has moved to New York City, where he runs a limousine rental company and has married a hysterical, codependent woman similar to his hypochondriac mother. Richie Tozer lives in Los Angeles and works as a disc jockey. Ben Hanscom is now thin and a successful architect living in Nebraska. Stan Uris is a wealthy accountant residing in Atlanta, Georgia, and is married to a teacher named Patty Bloom. Though the former members of the Losers Club have all repressed their memories of the summer they met and the monster itself, all but Stan agreed to return to Derry. After Mike's phone call, Stan unalives himself in the bathtub, writing it on the wall in his own blood. Tom refuses to let Beverly go and tries to beat her, but she fights him off and flees. They return to Derry, only remembering something terrible happening and their promise to return no matter what. The losers meet for lunch at a local Chinese restaurant where Mike reminds them that it awakens roughly every 25 to 27 years for 12 to 16 months at a time, feeding on children before going back to sleep. While they catch up on their lives, the group returns to the strong bond that defined their previous friendships and love for each other. The group decides to kill it once and for all. As they open their fortune cookies at the end of their meal, each cookie becomes a vicious manifestation of its power. One produces a glaring eye, another hatches a large dying insect. Beverly's cookie sprays blood. Bill orders everyone to stop panicking and dummy up, their word for composing themselves in the face of fear, knowing that their server will not see what they do. At Mike's suggestion, each person explores different parts of Derry to help restore their memories. While exploring, Eddie, Richie, Beverly and Ben are faced with manifestations of it. Eddie sees a leprous Belch Huggins, Richie sees a Paul Bunyan statue, Beverly sees the witch from Hansel and Gretel, and Ben sees Dracula. Ben finds his childhood Schwinn silver in a second-hand store and brings it to Mike's home, where they spend a few hours tuning it up. 3 other people are also converging on the town: Audra, who is worried about Bill, Tom Rogan, who plans to punish Beverly, and a vengeful Henry Bowers, who has now escaped from the nearby Juniper Hill mental asylum. Mike and Henry have a violent confrontation at the library. Both are seriously injured and Henry escapes. Henry is driven to the hotel where the losers are staying by the rotting corpse of Belch. He instructs Henry to kill the rest of them. Henry attacks Eddie, breaking his arm once again. In the fight, Henry is killed. It then appears to Tom Rogan and orders him to capture Audra. Tom brings Audra to its lair. Upon seeing its true form, Audra becomes catatonic and Tom drops dead. Bill, Ben, Beverly, Richie and Eddie learn that Mike is near death and realise they are being forced into another confrontation with it. They descend into the sewers and use their strength as a group to send energy to a hospitalised Mike, who fights off a nurse possessed by it. They finally reach its lair and find it has taken the form of a giant spider. Bill and Richie enter its mind through the ritual of Chud, but they get lost in it. To distract it and bring Bill and Richie back, Eddie runs towards it and uses his aspirator to spray medicine in its eyes and down its throat. Although he is successful, it bites off Eddie's arm and Eddie quickly bleeds to death. It runs away to tend to its injuries, but Bill, Richie and Ben chase after it and find that it has laid eggs. Ben stays behind to destroy the eggs while Bill and Richie head towards their final confrontation with it. Bill fights his way inside its body, locates its heart and crushes it between his hands, killing it once and for all. The group meet up to head out of its lair, and although they try to bring Audra and Eddie's bodies with them, they are forced to leave Eddie behind. They make it to the surface and realise that the scars on their hand from when they were children have disappeared, indicating that their ordeal is finally over. Or is it? At the same time, the worst storm in Maine's history sweeps through Derry and the downtown area, collapses, destroying businesses and homes and resulting in several deaths. Mike concludes that Derry is finally dying. The losers plan to return home and gradually begin to forget about it, Derry and each other. Mike's memories also begin to fade, as well as many of the records he had written down previously, much to his relief, and he considers starting a new life elsewhere. Ben and Beverly realise their love for one another and become a couple, leaving Derry together. Richie returns to California. Bill is the last to leave Derry. Before he goes, he takes Audra, still catatonic, for a fast ride on Silver, which magically breaks her catatonia through the power of belief. In the final paragraphs, the line begins to blur between the story we have been told and the story Bill is dreaming, and the story Bill tells us he will write. King ends his mammoth novel with one final thought, that the act of remembering as a dreamer and the act of creating as a storyteller are the same, because although Bill may never fully remember the story behind his dreams, he will write the truth in his fiction. Derry, without its influence, begins to decay. A massive storm destroys much of the town. So the macroverse, or darkness, is a concept from the Stephen King's multiverse, a primordial void beyond our universe where chaotic creation and destructions occur. to entities like Pennywise and Manchurian the Turtle, and also connected to the Dark Tower series as a deeper reality where immense cosmic beings and dark forces reside. Its terrifying, fractured-like dimension filled with infinite potential and monstrous beings that feed on fear, acting as the source of terrifying power and outworldly horrors. It is home of It, a predatory creature from the void that comes to Earth to feed on fear, described as an infinite collection of universes, without our reality being just one tiny part, existing as a backdrop for higher dimensional beings. The macroverse is synonymous with the Todosh darkness as a realm of raw, chaotic energy that can drive people mad if exposed to it. The benevolent giant turtle Manchurian also lives in the macroverse, having vomited out our universe and representing a force of creation and order. In King's cosmology, the macroverse is a fundamental layer of reality linked to the Dark Tower, the nexus of all worlds, with beings like the Crimson King trying to exploit it. It's depicted with swirling vortexes of stars, galaxies, and invisible structures, often used as a storage for immense cosmic power. Manchurian serves as an unseen, overarching protagonist of the novel It and the overarching protagonist of the Dark Tower series. He was the turtle and one of the 12 guardians of the beings that held up the Dark Tower. Manchurian guarded one end of the beam and Shardik guarded the other end. Now, it is such a huge topic to cover, so I think this is going to be in 3 parts. So next week we're going to be talking about the TV series and both of the movies, and then in the final part we'll do Welcome to Derry, which I'm so excited for. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next week.